Salutations, respective viewers. I'm George from Ireland. So behind me is the house of Viscount Gort. Is the one where you can actually see the door, not the one that's being repaired on either side. So Lord Gort was born in London, I think in this house, around about 1880, into a very upper class family. So he was actually JSSP Ferraker. So Ferraker was the surname. So it was an Irish title his father had. Gort is a town in Galway, but the family was of distant Norman and Dutch ancestry. Prendergast was part of the name, and that's a Norman name. Ferraker being a Dutch name, who's descended from Thomas Gage, one of the British generals of the American Revolution, various people who lived in the United States. So he gives a very distinguished ancestry on both sides, and very wealthy. I mean, look at the house, for goodness sake. Here we are in Belgrave Square. This area is called Belgravia, one of the squishiest squares in London. Anyhow, he went to Harrow School, then regarded as among the top 2 schools in that entire British Empire, and he grew up at the time when the Empire was at its apogee. He then went to the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. He wasn't an academic sort. So Sandhurst is just a bit outside London. That's where he trained to be an army officer. It was a 2-year course until the 1970s. It's been a 1-year course ever since. And how appropriate is just across from here, if I got that right, it's the Royal United Service Institute. It's some sort of military college, but they're always going in and out of there in civilian clothes, not in uniform. So he then commissioned into the Grenadier Guards. So these are foot guards. You see them stomping around in front of Buckingham Palace, wearing those scarlet tunics and the big black bearskin hats. Public duty citizen. So they're here to guard the royal family and London. So it's one of the most prestigious regiments. Well, certainly for the officers, tend to come from very upper class families, and the privates usually from working class families. Not to say the Grenadier Guards did much fighting. So the regiments of foot guards, in order they're founded, are Coldstream Guards, Grenadier Guards, Scots Guards, Irish Guards, Welsh Guards. When he joined, the Welsh Guards hadn't even been founded. Incidentally, you don't have to be Welsh to be in the Welsh Guards, and so on. Grenadier Guards is in the men to be throwing grenades, because a battalion was roughly 500 men, 5 companies, about 100 each. And so grenades, invented at Granada in Spain, about 1700, had to be thrown. And the idea is the taller you are, the further reach you'll have, you'll be able to throw them further. So they said, well, let's take all the tallest men of the regiment and put them into one company of grenadiers. And so that they were the ones to go forward and throw grenades if we really need that. But anyway, the Grenadier Guardsmen were made up of guys who were all tall. The guardsmen, that's to say the privates, were. So a private in the regiment of guards, in the Brigadier Guards, is called a guardsman, not a private. The officers don't have to meet such a height requirement. And there was a King's Company of the Grenadier Guards, which had an even higher minimum height, like, so say Grenadier Guards all had to be 5'11" or something, which a century ago was well above average height. It's a little above average now. And then the Queen's Company all had to be 6'2" or something. I don't know if they stuck to that now because the army's struggling to recruit. And then their Horse Guards, as in the Blues and Royals, that's one regiment, and the Life Guards is another regiment. The Blues and Royals used to be 2 separate regiments till 1967. They were amalgamated. So there's altogether, that's the household division, or indeed you can call it Brigade of Guards, same thing, with the motto Septem Juncta in Uno, as in 7 joined in 1. So they almost never fought because they were here to guard London, only in a war where they had to pull out the stops out where they actually be sent to fight, such as in Crimea. Then the First World War broke out and he went over to France, was fighting there, distinguished himself for his gallantry, was promoted. And then he carried on his promotion after the First World War. He was married, he had children, and eventually by the 1930s he was Chief of Imperial General Staff. So that was not only for the British Army, but try and coordinate the military efforts of the dominions of South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and Newfoundland. Remember, Newfoundland wasn't part of Canada until 1949. So that was really the top job. So not just the Army, but also Navy and Air Forces had to be coordinated. Then the Second World War broke out and he was dispatched to France by the British Expeditionary Force and fighting the Wehrmacht. Now he's got rather mixed reviews for that. Did he handle the situation well, considering just how incredibly difficult it was? On the other hand, did he show a lack of fighting spirit? He was too despondent. He retreated too much. He was really reactive, not proactive. Ultimately, the Allies lost. He abandoned France too early. Even at Dunkirk, they could have had more aggressive defence, as in say, the reason the Germans let them escape, didn't advance for a week, was not out of mercy, was the Germans had advanced so fast their supply lines couldn't catch up, and they're out of ammunition, so counterattack. And you have all these tanks that you're not going to evacuate, use them. But then, okay, there's some of the tank crews who get killed. You have all this artillery, fire it. Don't let it fall into your hands. You have tons of fuel you leave behind, burn it. Don't leave it fall into enemy hands. And so some of the German units could have been defeated very easily because they had no ammunition. Would it be destroyed, surrendered, retreat? That was that. So could have at least inflicted a lot more damage for a very little loss to his own side. There you go. So anyway, he was back in the United Kingdom. He held various governorships during the Second World War of Malta, 1942 to 44, a very challenging period because it was the linchpin of the Mediterranean for the United Kingdom. I mean, that was an arterial route to connect the UK to the Far East, because so you could go through the Suez Canal. If you had to go all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, it would take much longer, use much more precious fuel. So the entire population of Malta got awarded the George Cross, which is on their flag. The only other group to get the thing en masse was the Royal Ulster Constabulary. And then he was governor of Palestine, 1944 to 46. That includes what is now Israel as well. Again, an incredibly testing time to be in charge. Zionist terrorism was starting, even though the United Kingdom would be the only country in Europe fighting to save Jewish people. The only country which was kind of complete equality. There'd been a prime minister of Jewish extraction in the 1870s, for goodness sake, and on and on. And still, some of these Zionist extremists were so foul, they were actually weakening the Allied war effort against the Third Reich, thereby leading to more deaths of their countrymen by prolonging the war. And some are very anti-Arab as well. Now, admittedly, some of the Palestinian nationalists were very anti-Jewish. Anyway, so he gave that up in 1946, an impossible task. Someone else filled it for the last 2 years till Palestinian and Israeli independence. He came back here to London. He died in Southwark Hospital of liver cancer. No, not in. Is in Southwark. I can't remember the name of the hospital. He's buried somewhere in Kent, where he had a country house. So that is the 6th Viscount Gort. It's a rich irony that this then became the embassy of the German Democratic Republic, i.e. East Germany, that communist state, but is now some sort of German cultural institute or some German UK Chamber of Commerce. That's enough from me. Toodaloo.